Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It's so funny and revealing, actually, for people who could not catch these kind of things happening in the so-called free mass media, is how this mass media provides yesterday a piece of news, and the next day they can change the whole thing, like really 180 degrees opposite. And that is regarding the Wagner Group, the mercenary group company, private companies, stupid, how should I call it, revolt, let's put it, revolt, against the Russian military, not against Putin, Russian military. Remember, they were upset with the military, not with Putin, because they see themselves, or Prigozhin, which I think he spoke, he got lost, I think. He either indulged himself in certain kind of substances or beverages, or maybe he had some other ones supposed to join him. Nevertheless, he got caught, and now he is in a cage in Lukashenko's safekeeping. That is, we're going to keep it here. We're going to come to you later. It's an issue that we solved. But I'm going to show you here about 4 articles where the mass media is going to change the tune on Putin from, let's say, up to the 23rd, or let's say 22nd of June. If you remember, Putin was the dictator, and he was so ruthless and so strong in his dictatorship in Russia that he could not be challenged. He was so strong. Well, I kept saying, well, maybe he's just an elected official by the Russian people, take it however you want, he's legitimate ruler of Russia, democratically elected by, I know, no shame elections and so on, but hey, that's how it seems to work over there. Unlike here, perfect everything if the right guy wins. So we have here the situation with Putin, and he's out. He's okay. Something was tried against me. Put it in the context. Put it in, relative to what? You have 25,000 people, and they supposedly took over the Russian army because they had a problem with Prigozhin had a problem with Shoigu and Gerasimov, not with Putin. And Shoigu and Gerasimov are the guys in charge of the Russian army. So if you think that 25 people could challenge those guys and beat them, I don't know then. Maybe you think that a toddler could beat Mike Tyson even now at 50-some. So let's see what's going on here to show you how now the mass media portrays Putin as a weak guy, and even former diplomats, ambassadors, saying the same thing, which tells me they're either dumb or they have obviously an interest, or maybe both of them. Nothing positive, and I'm going to tell you why. It seems like these guys rooted for the mercenary group because they are upset now that Putin did not do something bad to Prigozhin, and the fact that Putin allowed Prigozhin to go to Lukashenko, or Lukashenko begged Putin to have Prigozhin over there, or this guy said, you know what, keep the issue here for now and we're going to take care of it later, we sort it out later. These guys seem to be very unhappy about it. These guys, what would have been the option? Would they rather have Prigozhin and Putin, do that? So I think it was I don't want to say it, but I will say it though, a diplomatic success. Why? Nobody was shot. Nobody was arrested as of now. It was solved through communication. And they say, whoa, Putin is weak. Imagine this would have happened, let's say, in the United States of America. And you would have Trudeau, which would be Lukashenko, you have Biden, would have been Putin, and you have, let's say, Mike Pence, the leader of former Blackwater mercenary group, how do you want to call it, private military company in the States of America. And you have this happening here. And let's say Mr. Prince would decide from, Toledo, Ohio, even though, let's say Toledo, Ohio, to move on, or let's say Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland to move, and they were not like in one position, to move his 25,000 drunks and ex-cons and all that we were told they are, the Wagner groups, towards Washington and take care of the Pentagon. Okay, so it's about 500 kilometers from there to there. And what do you think? Would they have been successful? And then people would say, okay, now Mike Pence, I think that's what his name is, was going to Canada because Trudeau, said, well, I'm going to keep this guy for a while here from you, Biden, so you don't have to do anybody. What do you think? How do you think the mass media here would have portrayed all this? A fantastic, fantastic success. No blood was shed, nothing. They would portray Biden as being a diplomat, a fantastic broker, not Trudeau, and Trudeau probably too. But it was all civilized, in the civilized countries, when we're not like them. But it seems like these guys are upset that Prigozhin is with Lukashenko. They probably expected Putin to do something else. Now, let's go to this first article, which comes from Business Insider. And we have a former US ambassador to Russia who says that Putin is showing how weak he is by relying on Belarus Lukashenko to help him resolve the Wagner uprising. I think that actually Lukashenko might have begged Putin for his friend not to be eliminated. How do you know it was the other way around? You don't. Neither do I. But since you like that version, maybe I prefer the other version. And how can you prove it was that? The fact is only one thing. Prigozhin, I think, is in house arrest in Lukashenko's arms, and if Putin is that weak, then, I don't know, he solved the problem in one day. So take it however you want, weak or not, the problem was solved with Wagner Group in one day. Not in more than one day. Well, let's say 48 hours. You want me to give you 48 hours. So John Sullivan told CBS that Russia's reliance on Belarus to solve his problems shows actual weakness. Maybe Putin told these guys what to do. How do you know it was the other way? How do you know he relied on them? Maybe Putin said, if I'm going to kill this guy, we don't do this kind of thing. Well, he's a criminal. Okay, we're going to keep him here and we're going to take care of him later. How do you know it was not like that? Well, because this is a make-believe. This is wishful thinking right here. Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko helped to resolve the Wagner Group uprising on Saturday. No. He helped to keep this guy over there. On safekeeping. And remember, this is not over yet. It's not over. And I'm quoting, it's not just an appearance of weakness. It's actual weakness. So, would you have considered Biden's diplomatic resolve of Blackwater and Mike Pence with Trudeau a weakness, or you would have hailed it as fantastic diplomatic visionary? You see, that's why, okay, you take it that way without anything, any evidence. The evidence is, oh, he didn't kill Lukashenko, or he didn't kill Prigozhin. That's the whole thing. And because he didn't, must be weak. Why? Because he's bad, and we want him to be weak. Okay. All right. Well, no problem. We have that covered, and we're going to go to the next article. This is Russian dictator said to have ordered warlord Prigozhin's elimination, but amnesty for Wagnerites. So Putin now, we're told, now it's said, some people said that he, the dictator, the weak one, ordered to eliminate this guy, but somehow Lukashenko got him over there. The point is, the big dictator seemed to have solved this issue in a, however we want to take it, no blood was shed yet. Let's go to the next article. This is Insider. Putin has been exposed as a lame duck, experts say. I have the feeling he's not really running the country. Well, look at this. They have an uprising. Let's put it in reality. Imagine Ford Company. A private company challenges the, I'm talking about challenges the US economy. And let's say the Yellen, whatever she is, Secretary of whatever she is here. Do you think that Ford has a chance? Ford versus, and again, they have, I have a feeling, this guy says, Putin is not really running the country. What about Biden? I mean, what is the evidence that this guy brings I have a feeling he's not running the country, because he put down a 25,000 company, 25,000 people company, put down the whole thing in one day. He's not running the show. I don't know why, but anyway, is that what it is? I think he solved the problem. But Biden, on the other hand, that we can see, he's not there. He's running the company. He's running the U.S. 100%. You can't even say it, even if you see it, that this guy is not all there. Biden, I don't know if he can dress himself or eat or take a poop by himself. But hey, we immediately know that Putin is not running. Have you seen this kind of article from Business Insider saying that maybe Biden is not really running the country? Have you seen it? And Biden is like, every other day he dives and catches the ball like a goalkeeper. My friends, this is the level of our media. Let's move to the last article here, and this is something that I will put in a certain context. Again, CNN Politics. This weasel, who is more related to Prigozhin than to Putin, and it seems like, full interview with Secretary Blinken after Russian revolt. You see how they make out of one company a Russian revolt. Was it a Russian revolt? Why do you make it a Russian? Were the people in the street? Was what? You can extrapolate it to a Russian because they were Russians, but it's like this. Let's say you have Ford Motor Company trying to, do something like Wagner. Would you call it an American uprising, or are you calling Ford Company's uprising? And then Ford the third is going to be taken and given to, let's say, for safekeeping to, let's say, Trudeau. Would you call it an American uprising, or you will call it a Ford Company uprising? They call it a Russian uprising. Why? There was no Russian uprising. It was a private company, military company, private, that did not want to follow orders and were upset with the military of Russia. That's why, and in one day, everything was solved, under control, without any fire shot. I think that's an achievement, even though these guys probably would have wanted the other scenario. So, when they say Russian revolt, it was not a Russian revolt, it was the private company, it was Ford Company's revolt. That's what it was. I didn't see anything extra but that. So let's go back to the, right here it says, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken tells CNN's Dana Bash, oh my god, anyway, look at her bio as well, that, and I'm quoting, this is a moving picture and we haven't seen the last act yet. I think the last act would be when Prigozhin will have an accident. After a Russian revolt against Putin was abruptly diffused. Well, it was not a Russian revolt, as I said many times before, and you're right about that. Abrupt diffuse. I mean, if you want to use it, Russian revolt, why don't you say man revolt? By the same token. And a man revolt, or male revolt against Putin, because I guarantee you there were probably 99.9% male in the Prigozhin's private company. So why don't you define it by that terms? Why do you define it by Russian? Why? Because they want to make it that way, like it was the Russian people revolted. Now it was that Ford Company. That's it. And Ford Company has its employees. That's what happened. And everything was diffused in, as I said, 24 hours. That shows without any shot fired. I think that's an achievement. It would have been worse. The guy shoot them with a few missiles and everything done, and then Prigozhin bombed out, boom. But it didn't happen that way. Instead of this guy saying, well, we're glad that lives were saved. It sounds like they really rooted for the other option. They wanted Prigozhin to go to Moscow, fight with these guys, maybe someone else. A lot of infighting. They don't care about, they don't care about life. They care about their own little thing. Not even, no, their own families, that's the extent. Their own families, that's the extent. Where they tell you this and that. So yeah, Putin is weak now, was strong on the 22nd, up to the 22nd, now he's weak, lame duck and all that. I don't know why, because he did not kill this guy, that means he's weak, according to these guys, and had Lukashenko protect this guy for a while, safekeeping, that's what it is with Prigozhin. Everybody knows that, but they somehow tell, well, he's weak. Would he have been strong if he would have killed this guy? I mean, what would be the alternative? So he doesn't kill Prigozhin, he's weak. He would have blown up Prigozhin. What's the alternative? Weak? Tell me when would have been strong, when Putin have been strong. If he would have just cut his throat up, then Putin would have been strong. When? I mean, do you tell me what option, what is the strength of this guy? Showing humility? Being a victim? That strength? Anyway, my friends, these guys turned all this, and it was the Russian revolt. No, it was the male revolt. Toxic masculinity, all right? Again at play. But somehow this guy's waiting for something else. No, this is done. The Wagnerites are done. Prigozhin is in his little cage in Lukashenko's safekeeping, and we don't even know what's going to happen next. I don't know if Wagnerites are going to go to Belarus. I don't know what's going to be the next move. And I don't discard the option or the scenario that these guys are spoken in a certain way. I'm not going to discard that one. I give it, about 20%, that all this could be just for the appearance. Because nobody died. That's the point. In something like this, nobody was shot. Nobody, Prigozhin is still alive. Wagner Group is still intact as it is. It was not dismembered yet. Not put under the Russian military control yet, even though I think it was kind of like you come here, you join the military, you guys were gonna give you amnesty and so on. Very diplomatic, very un-Russian, I would say, right? According to these guys, because these guys are used to tell us that those guys are at the first sign of dissent. Just question these guys. Look how they report certain things. He's weak. Okay, he's weak. And guess what? In about 2 or 3 days, if the Russians are going to, somehow do something on the front line, he's going to be strong again. You'll see. He's going to be strong again. And he's going to be that all-powerful dictator overnight. Be afraid. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I made this just to show you how these guys are interpreting what's going on over there, and there's no win-win. It's the way the wind blows for them. This guy can be bad yesterday, could be good today, or vice versa. It's just a matter of how they want to form our opinion. Now he's bad. I mean, he was always bad. He's always going to be bad until he gives his country to then he's going to be good. That's the only way. And he pays everything, and maybe he's going to be good after a while, but I'm not even sure. I think he did too much damage. He's too dangerous. He can't stay as where he is. I'm talking about the bad dude, the dictator. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.